Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday morning to you. Welcome back to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I'm the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma. Don't forget, my brand new book, The Death of Adam, The Life of Christ, is now available. All right? Many of you have contacted me about getting a copy of this book. It's been available on Kindle for a month or whatever, but trying to get it in paperback form has been a trial. But finally, it is available, regularly priced at $19.95 plus $4.95 shipping. However, special introductory price for the month of September and October 2019, $17.95 delivered to your door. Total price, okay? So go to my website, donkpreston.com, bibleprophecy.com. Send me an email saying you want to order the book. And you can pay through PayPal, and you'll receive directions. Or if you send me an email, I'll give you the payment instructions, okay? But I want to tell you, this book tackles head-on some of the most pressing questions about the nature of the death of Adam. It addresses head-on the death of 1 Corinthians chapter 15 to be overcome at the parousia of Christ. And so I don't know of another book like it anywhere. I truly don't. I interact with some of the world's finest scholarship in this book, however, and I think you'll be absolutely amazed at how clear the evidence is that the death of Adam was his alienation from God, his separation from God, and it was not physical death. The implications of that for understanding the doctrine of resurrection in 1 Corinthians 15 are absolutely profound. So order your copy of the book today. Okay, we are looking at the doctrine of the Great Tribulation in Matthew chapter 24. I cannot emphasize enough what I've shared with you, and that is that we must see the abomination of desolation is literally the abomination that leads to the tribulation. And yesterday, we took note of the language where Jesus said, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as has never been, nor ever yet shall be." Now, I want you to notice, first of all, a reminder. It is the abomination that leads to desolation. Throughout the entirety of the Tanakh, when you read Deuteronomy chapters 28 to 30, when you read Leviticus chapter 26, you will find that connection between Israel's sin, Israel guilty of abomination, and those sins, those transgressions, those abominations would lead directly to her desolation. It would lead to her cities being desolated. It would lead to her being led into captivity. It would lead to her alienation from God, her death. This is so incredibly critical. Now, keeping that in mind, all right? In the dispensational world, we are told that, well, the tribulation comes when, point number one, Israel, after the rapture, Israel signs a peace treaty with the man of sin. The man of sin allows Israel to rebuild the Jerusalem temple. Look, somebody told me just the other day that in Jerusalem, they have actually built the temple underground. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that is absolutely false. There's not a hint of a clue of a suggestion that idea and that claim is false. That is one of those phantasmagoric claims being made very often by Zionistic movements, but most of all, generally speaking, by radical dispensationalists. You're more, may I use the term, level-headed dispensationalists know that claim is absolutely false. I mean, the very idea of being able to build a temple to match the Herodian temple underneath the Temple Mount and nobody know about it is just simply astounding. Well, all of that aside. But the point that I'm making is that in the tribulation, the man of sin supposedly signs a peace treaty with Israel and the Islamic nations. Israel rebuilds the temple. But after 3.5 years, the man of sin breaks the covenant with Israel, and what ensues is the Great Tribulation period. In this scenario, okay, please listen to me very carefully. In this scenario, Israel is the, quote, innocent victim, unquote. She is the brunt of the persecution by this pagan power against her, whose aim and whose goal is to wipe Israel off of the map. Thomas Ice, with whom I've had 4 debates, said that one of the greatest flaws, one of the greatest proofs of futurism and denials of preterism is the fact that in the Great Tribulation, Israel is delivered from the tribulation, not the brunt of the tribulation. Well, there are 2 things here. Number 1, that completely and totally ignores the relationship between the abomination, being Israel's sin, and the abomination of Israel's sin leading to her desolation. And once again, that's Matthew chapter 23, as we will demonstrate in a later video. Abomination that leads to desolation. Point number 2, historically, when we go back, as we noted in Monday's video, when we go back, Jerusalem in 586 BC was destroyed because of Israel's abominations and because of Israel's violation of Torah, violation of the covenant. In Daniel chapter 9, Daniel 9 confesses, number 1, Israel violated the covenant. Number 2, Yahweh was faithful to the covenant in bringing that desolation on her. Thus, there's a direct, absolutely direct connection between the law of Moses, Israel's violation of the law of Moses as the abomination, leading to her desolation. You know what that means, don't you? When in Matthew chapter 24, Jesus spoke of the abomination that leads to desolation, and he said that in the context of Israel's violation of Torah, Matthew chapter 23, then that means that we must view the abomination of desolation and the Great Tribulation that would follow as a direct result as a covenantal judgment on Israel for violating the law of Moses. You know what that means, don't you? It means that if the abomination is a violation of Torah, and if the Great Tribulation is the result of Israel's violation of the law of Moses, then that means the law of Moses would have to be in effect in order for Israel's sin to be a violation of Torah. And it would mean that the law of Moses would have to be in effect for God to bring those covenant sanctions against Israel. Look, folks, you can't have covenant sanctions being brought to bear and applied if the covenant is null and void. I'm sorry, it doesn't work. As I pointed out in last week's videos, if a covenant is dead, in other words, if the law of Moses was nailed to the cross, as so many people believe, then the covenantal sanctions, number 1, that brought covenant judgment on Israel and Jerusalem in 586 BC. See? Violation of the covenant, sanctions, judgment. Okay? Same identical scenario in Matthew chapter 24. Violation of the covenant, Matthew 23, which was the abomination that would lead to desolation, and that desolation would be covenant sanction, fulfilling Leviticus 26, fulfilling finally Deuteronomy 28 to 30, and fulfilling the law of the Song of Moses, Deuteronomy chapter 32. Once again, that means, that demands, there's no escaping it. You cannot have covenant sanctions being applied if the covenant is no longer in effect. That is such an illogical concept as to be beyond belief. Okay? Hey, don't forget my September special offer. You know, in addition to introducing this book, okay, don't forget, this month's special is The Resurrection of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 2, fulfilled or future. Regularly $23.95 plus $4.95 shipping. But now for this month, September 2019, doesn't apply to overseas orders. I apologize for that. But September special, $19.95, delivered to your door. Okay, we have more on the Abomination of Desolation and the Great Tribulation. So I'll see you on the flip side.